Hello everyone, it's Dio from Firm Affair Gaming, bringing you another World of Warcraft video. Today we're going to be covering add-ons for World of Warcraft. We all know there are dozens and dozens of them, and they vary for their usefulness as towards if it's for dungeons and raids, or if it's for arena, or to help you DPS or heal. Like, there's so many that are out there, so I'm going to cover the ones that I think are some of the best and the most important that everybody should have. So at first, I want to start off by saying that the best place that I found to go and get these add-ons is from CurseForge. So you can go to curseforge.com and download this launcher. And basically, I just go into World of Warcraft, and there's so many add-ons. It shows where all my add-ons are. I can click the button to keep them up to date, or I can update individual ones. And you can get more add-ons. You just search for them. Incredibly handy tool. Highly recommended. I would download this as one of my first steps when looking into what add-ons I should get. So we're going to start with Dungeons and Raids. So of course, one of the most popular add-ons and one of the most famous is Deadly Boss Mods. This of course is used for raiding primarily, but it also does cover you in dungeons as well. And so it lists all the various abilities that the raid bosses will use in the raid, whether it's on normal, heroic, or mythic, and it makes noises and counts them out and has timers and all that stuff that you need to be aware of. As I said, it is probably the most famous and most important add-on you will ever need if you're going to do any of those things. Highly recommended. Most raiding guilds will make this a mandatory download, and you'll need to have it installed before you even step foot inside the dungeon. So most players are familiar with that, but I just wanted to make sure that it was covered. Another one that I like to use, and this is just for M+, it is called the MDT, so Mythic Dungeon Tool. And so what this allows you to do is it helps you plan your routes during Mythic Plus, because of course you have to kill up to 100% progression in order to complete the dungeon while killing all the bosses. So this just helps you plan your route. You select your packs, your polls, and you can share this with your fellow group, and if they have the same tool, they can import this into the tool and be able to see the route that you plan to use if you are the tank or whatnot. And it just helps communicate with the group so they know what to expect, when to see big pulls, so they can plan their cooldowns accordingly. It just gives them that idea of the path you're going to take. Also, it is very important because you can identify if you're going to skip any pulls, and then they know whether they need to invis or if they need to use an invis pot. So it's good to give them advance warning of that, because they don't want to use a combat potion and then find that the skip is then going to come shortly after. And of course, it's a 5-minute cooldown when you use a pot. So then they wouldn't be able to use that in Viz cooldown. So by sharing the route, being able to see those sorts of things, it helps communicate with the team and helps you move more speedily through the dungeon. So there's two add-ons that go with the Mythic Dungeons tools. One is called the MDT Guide, and the other one is called Mythic Dungeon Tools. And I will be providing the links to all of these in the notes or the description of this video. Moving into DPS, one of the best add-ons that I ever came across is called Hikili. So let's just bring this up for the group. So this is what it looks like. It is showing me my current possible specs because I'm on my warrior, and you can go through and you have your priority sequence, and it's kind of pre-programmed, but you can make changes to this if you would like. It has all these various options, but to show what it looks like in action, up above here is where I actually have it placed. So it shows like your next 3 abilities that you should cast. So it wants me to cast Battle Shout, and then if I go into combat, it's telling me what I want to do, my trinket, then it wants me to execute, whirlwind, I'm gonna enrage, and then it wants me to go into recklessness, and all those sorts of things. So it kind of calls it out for me as I know what to do. I found personally that downloading this add-on, it just increased my DPS. So if I was to sim my character, and my character was to do 4,000 DPS, when I was beating on a dummy, I could do about 3,800. But now using this add-on, I can hit the 4K or even sometimes higher than that, depending on how well my procs come up and that sort of thing. It's helped me become way more confident in my ability as a DPS. And as a result of that, of course, you're clearing higher content, posting better numbers, and you just feel better about yourself. And it's more fun doing that. Another add-on that I like to use is Tell Me When. So it can be programmed to show cooldowns, it can show when you have buffs, it can do so many different things. So I only have a couple set up on this class, but it's so intuitive. You can make it do whatever you would like. You know, here we can track cooldowns, item cooldowns, buffs, all that sort of stuff. It's very programmable, easy to use, and can be a very big help as well. The other other add-on that I like to use is Weak Ores, so it can be programmed the same as Tell Me When, but I have it set up a little bit differently for some other things that I found easier to use into Weak Ores. As well as the nice thing about this is if other people are using Weak Ores, they can just share it with you if they're in your party, and you can just import it or download it and import it into here, and then you have it as well. So it's quite easy to share and to help grow your list of the various Weak Ores that you can have. So as you can see, I have a ton of them. Some are for Paladin, a bunch are for Warrior, and some are just group specific. But again, very useful tool, and these three are very handy for DPS, and they definitely have increased my DPS numbers dramatically from before I had these. So I highly recommend them. Again, to me, the most important one is this Hakili one, which helps you figure out your rotation. And I noticed that as a warrior, it even factors in like my next melee hit when I'm generating rage. So if I was playing without it, I would think I need to I would use an ability out of order, but then I can see here that I'm going to get the rage due to a melee hit, so that I can sit back and wait that fraction of a second to hit the correct button that is going to give me the higher DPS number. Now for healing I use Tell Me When as well as I use Weak Ores. So I'm not going to cover that because we already covered it. I'll just point out that at the top here, this is where I have like some of my Tell Me When set up, and over here is a Weak Ore that tracks my holy power. And the other program that I use is called Voodoo. So the reason that I like Voodoo is because, or Voodoo, however you want to pronounce it, probably Voodoo, but anyway. So it has built-in mouse over functionality. So I have all the lists of my spells. I have what's bound to my mouse, and then over here I have my local keys. And basically these are all mouse over. So when I'm in a group, I can just mouse over my party frames and just cast whatever spell. I don't have to click on them. I just mouse over them, and that is really great functionality. You can do it within the Blizzard UI, but I know that the Blizzard macros, there is like a limited number that you can have, and so I generally use a lot of those on some of my characters. So I just found that using Voodoo gave me so much more, and it's a great tool. It made my healing incredibly more effective, and it was just so easy to use, easy to set up, and you can find some custom profiles that have already been created based on whichever class you're using. So I highly recommend it, and it's my preferred favorite. So now we're just going to quickly go over a few of the arena add-ons that I use. So up front, I will just say that I am not a gladiator arena player. At best, I might be 1800. I more am a PvEer than PvP, but I'm also as Fury, so it is what it is. It should be arms, but oh well. So basically, I have three add-ons that I use. So one is called Gladius. We can see that up here. It is announcing to me who we're playing. So we're playing a Protection Paladin and a Subtlety Rogue. It also should have announced it in my party, but I was the last one in, so it didn't announce it to the party. It'll announce it if you're the first one in, the party leader. The other add-ons that I have are Gladiator Loss SA, which is an announcing add-on. If you listen throughout the fight, you'll hear it announce abilities that are used. So keep your ear out for that. And the other one I use is Big Debuffs, which, as you can see there, it just announced that he had used an ability. How the heck? Wow, I haven't PvP'd forever, so that was so interesting. I'm just going to die here because I'm not in the right gear, and he's a prot paladin, so he can heal and just do all sorts of stuff. Yeah, see, if I had a trinket, that would have been incredibly helpful. I'm just going to fear him here, so we can see there's another debuff. This guy's over here doing that. And we'll just do this. We have no expectation to win this. Again, I'm not in PvP here, and I've heard that prots are particularly broken right now.
Divine Shield.
Yeah, I expected that to happen. So as you could see through that fight, the big debuff was showing the debuff above the person all the time. So when he bubbled or had freedom, there was a big icon above, as well as when I feared or used Stormbolt, it was up there. So that's basically what big debuffs does. And then Gladiator Lost SA was announcing as certain abilities were used, Trinket, the bubble, and that sort of thing. So that's the three main add-ons that I use. Again, is Gladius, so it announces who I'm facing, so I know that during the preparation stages. Gladiator Lost SA, because it announces just in case I happen to be focusing the healer, and then the DPS is CC'd, and then it'll tell me if they use the trinket. Then if I wasn't paying attention, then at least I could hear it, and it's just more information is more power while you're in the arena, so that's very helpful. And then of course big debuff, so I can see the CC that's out there just in case you don't happen to be on comms with your partner or they forget to share the information. You can see it visually, and it just helps you react quicker and hopefully better. So those are the three add-ons that I use for Arena. So I just jumped into Battlegrounds. So in Battlegrounds, I use two add-ons for this. I use what is called Battleground Enemies. As you can see over here, it shows me what the Horde players are. So I can click on them and see what their healths are and their classes and that sort of stuff. And the health kind of gives me an idea of what gear they have. I also have another add-on that I use, which is called capping. So as you can see up here, it's a timer. It basically shows as the flags are turned for in a Arathi Basin or Eye of the Storm and all that sort of stuff. It kind of shows me respawn rates or when they're going to turn over, just to give you an idea of how long you have to get things back, or how long you need to defend it before it's yours, or if you're in a Alterac Valley until the towers destroy. So again, I can just click over here and see what everybody has for health and whatnot, just to get a gauge of how strong my opposition is. This is heavily used in rated battlegrounds, and I highly recommend getting it if that is something that you are into. So some of the miscellaneous add-ons that I use one called coordinates. So that basically, it's what's up here at the top of my map. Helps identify where my player is and also where my cursor is in case I need to move around. This is good for if you have difficulty with quests, if you use Wowhead or that sort of thing. A lot of people put coordinates, so this will help you figure out where you need to go in order to do that. I also use an add-on called Addy Bags. So basically, instead of showing all my bags individually, it makes it one big bag, as well as it organizes it based on whether it's a quest item, belongs to trade skills. It has all my different sets all set up here as well, consumables, reagents, and all that sort of thing. So you can have it to sort by that, or you can do some custom sorts as well. And the last one that I find incredibly handy is I have this one called Sell Junk. So it just gives me this button over here by the vendor where it will sell all the junk I have in my bag. So I have 2 pieces of junk right here. So anytime I go to a vendor, I can just do this and it'll sell them for me, so I don't have to be over here clicking on each piece individually. So that's very handy. And these are the 3, I'll call them miscellaneous add-ons that I use that I find are pretty simple, straightforward, and lots of ease of use. So these are the list of add-ons that I highly recommend that everybody have. Of course, everybody will have their personal preference. I do strongly recommend, of course, that everybody have DBM. I'm going to highly recommend Hikili for any DPS. Like, nobody's perfect. It just helps outline a little bit better the priority sequence in which to push your buttons. And of course, you can program it as well. And it's just nice to have that visual reminder. So I highly recommend that one. And for if you're an arena player, big debuffs and Gladius, as well as Gladiator Lost SA, are highly recommended. I had them recommended to me by a Gladiator that I came across, so I would highly recommend those. And of course, some of the miscellaneous ones are just there. They're for your fun and ease of convenience. My favorite, of course, is Sell Junk. It just helps maintain your bags a little bit easier. All that to say is that I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, please like and subscribe. And of course, you can find us on Twitch. Have a good one.